All right, Nathan and Zach. Nathan, welcome to the show as our guest, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Yeah, welcome, man.
You get the both of us today, so I hope you're ready.
I'm privileged. I'm special, I guess.
That's right.
As usual, I have no idea where organically we'll go, the three of us, after the first question, but just so you guys, the Wicked Smart listeners can get to know you, Nathan, a little bit of sort of behind the green curtain, how you landed here, right? You've been an associate for a while, as I said in the intro, but how'd you land here?
Yeah, so really I've been around real estate since I was at an early age with my family, but really what it really honed down to with national property processing, I got let go from my 9-to-5 job and started helping my family's business from a property management angle, and got to see how I was able to help scale their business and allow my father to be more working on the business rather than in. But then also being an associate and going through the creative financing deals within your guys' community. I also saw some gaps from an investor side of things, and just allowing investors to be able to spend more time getting more deals rather than being bogged down by all the little details that we do from a processing standpoint.
Yeah, didn't you literally pick up the phone, if I remember, and Zach will remember the story, and call Zach and go, hey, I got an idea, because you saw some gaps in what all of us were doing in the field? Is that how it took place?
Yeah, I saw some savings gaps. I also saw some time consuming tech gaps, and just a nice little system and process flow for small businesses like myself that was going through, and I'm sure other listeners that are listening to this podcast.
Yeah, so continue to walk us through that thought process, right? Because I think we were on a one-to-one coaching call, and you walked me through. You said, "Hey Zach, here's the gaps. Maybe talk about what those gaps actually were." I mean, you having the background in property management and landlording, right? I think you saw some specific things, especially with our procedures. Maybe walk us through that, and so that way we can start talking about what the solution actually was as well.
Actually, I'll pretty much go to what our 3 pillars stand for. Really, I saw a marketing gap. I was able to see that more leads were getting generated from this type of program that we're using within that processing. Anywhere from 5 to 10 times more leads coming in versus some of the other processes that we were using at that time. But then also just a professionalism approach to not only the seller that I was buying the property from, but also any buyer that I was placing into the home from a processing angle. Instead of using the Zells and the PayPals or the Venmos of the world, leveraging our type of processing that has a portal for your tenant to be able to go, or tenant buyer to be able to go in and make that payment each month. And then the third pillar that Nat Processing has is the reporting angle, where all this information that we're doing month in, and month out, being able to spit out some simple reports to see how your property is doing, but also your business is doing if you have multiple properties within the system.
What makes it think of this earlier deal, Zach, that we had, just to put some reality to this for us, like when someone gets that first deal, they think it's easy, but you start getting even 3 or 4 deals, and this stuff starts building up. Not only the manpower to literally get on and do it online to market, but then collecting the money and then paying the mortgage, and that it's just too much room for error when you could be out there getting deals, right?
Yeah, I remember. I know exactly what you're talking about here when you're stating that. We actually had to collect monthly payments from our buyers from banks, and we had to actually move different from like a local bank to a larger bank like Bank of America, so we could be more readily available for a tenant buyer to actually go put their deposit in. Yeah, so now
I forgot about that. They had to go to the bank.
They literally have to go to the bank. So Nathan now comes up with this idea that says, hey, how about we just have a portal where somebody could literally just go pay for it from their own house? It's like you brought us to the 21st century here. So maybe walk us through why this has actually been more effective from I'd like to hear from both sides, right? And then I'd love to know a case study from an investor, but from both sides, what's the feedback that you've received from sellers, and how has it been more helpful for them? And then maybe jump on the other side and talk about the buyers as well.
Yeah, from a seller's point of view, I mean, imagine sitting down, being a seller, and you're telling them that you want to buy their property. And what it taught, they may be asking a little bit about what your systems and processes may look like. Well, you can talk about how you're leveraging a third party processing companies such as National Property Processing that is systemizing and just automating some of your behind the scenes work that you're doing, rather than having to walk around and get checks from people, or have whatever that process may have looked like in the past. We can actually show the you can actually show the seller some of the easy systematic processes that you're using, some of the reporting that you're leveraging in that regard. From a buyer side of things, I would say, well, I always hone in on the professionalism that comes of it. If you're asking someone to pay you each month, and it's just loosey-goosey, or just kind of as the wind blows type of things, and not honoring your agreement, where are you really being? You're kind of being judged throughout that process. And so, being able to have a system and a portal that's automatically showing how much money is owed on this specific day on the first of the month, and if payments aren't being made, we're automating your late fee policy based off the agreement that you already established from that buyer. So really the word that comes to mind is professionalism for you and your business.
I got, do you have a follow-up on that first? Actually, go ahead. I don't want to break the.
No, I was almost going to point out the fact that when we originally were doing these types of transactions and our buyer didn't make a payment, there was no automated process with it. It was just us making phone calls and chasing down the money consistently. There was no reminders. There was no I would say clarity to say, here's how much you owe. Here's what the late fees that are coming on. Here's automated text messages or emails in order to make sure that we're constantly reminding them. It was all manpower. So that in itself, that you remind me of that in itself was a lot of work that we were doing as a family, especially at the beginning of our buying and selling years. Go ahead,
actually, I was gonna say, piggyback what you said, and I'm sure Nathan, this is why he's doing. He's probably going, yeah, hello, that's why I did it. But I'm thinking the mental power too, like for you or I, or even Kayla at the time, or an assistant, doesn't matter. It's mentally draining. Like you got to stop what you're doing for productivity, doing deals, which in our world, the 3 payday deals are worth a lot of money. You're stopping that mentally, and you're going and chasing a rent check. It's just craziness. So I do appreciate Nathan, bringing this to the table, obviously.
Well, I mean, as we talk about it more, I mean, some of the little easy systems that isn't in your brain anymore, and it's just being done manually or automatically for you. Zach's right. A rent reminder prior to the first of the month's going to the buyer. We have rent rolls that are going to get from a reporting side that'll be sent to you on certain days of the month. And so if someone isn't paying you, which is very seldom of the time, if someone isn't paying you, then you know that, hey, I got to pick up the phone and I got to talk to this tenant buyer or the tenant and figure out why payment isn't being made. So you're right. It takes a lot of the things out of your head, and then it's just about it planting right into your inbox, and then whatever your process there from your business standpoint, you pick up the phone and go from there, whoever that is within your team.
Can you maybe hit, Nathan, we're talking bias, like the 3 paydays and what we do in our world, but who is this for? I mean, this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is anyone, but can you address that?
You're absolutely right. It is anyone. But we're also really honing in on helping those small investors that are in those onesie, twosie, 5, 10 kind of realms of things as well. And it's like just you doing business. I think out in the world, that don't hold me to this statistic, but there are a lot of investors that are in the real estate game, and if they are investing in real estate, pretty much have like 3 properties. And so you're running around focused on these 3, probably still have a 9-to-5 job, want to spend time with family and all this other fun stuff that you want to do with life, and then you have these few or handful of properties that you're also managing on the side. So that's where we can come in and help with the behind the scenes, I'd like to say, part of your business.
So you got marketing, you got processing, and reporting. It's almost like like a virtual property management company, would you say?
Yeah, pretty darn close. Other than, yeah, I mean, we're not boots on the ground, but we're everything behind the scenes in terms of the financing, bringing leads to you, to help fill properties. And then having the reporting side. So yes, it's pretty much virtual what we're able to do for you guys.
So if I'm, go ahead, Zach. I don't want to break it.
No, I was gonna say, so you got real estate investors out there that you can certainly help, right? Especially people that got the onesie, twosie deals or the small portfolio, because it makes a ton of sense to not have a property management company at that time, because it's very likely that they're not gonna be paying attention to you anyways, because you're not generating the property management company enough money. So I totally see that. Wouldn't you also be able to start working with maybe even small property management companies, so that way they can really just be the boots on the ground and utilize Nat Processing in order to handle the back end work?
I'll give you two stories that come to mind. Yeah, the short answer is yes. If you're someone as a realtor that's thinking, hey, I want to get into this property management side of things, but there's a lot that's going to be thrown at me, you can just focus on tenant move in, move out conversations, type of thing. We can automate a lot of the behind the scenes work that can be done in terms of rent collections. Tenants would be able to ask for work orders coming in, and then you get notified that way of what, okay, 123 Main Street has a request of the dryer's not working. I only bring that up because I am going through that personally on my own home. So the dryer's not working. Okay, bring someone out, have someone check that out. You can get the request all figured out and done, all within the system, so to speak. But that's one, someone that just wants to get into the property management side of things and grow. But the second story behind that is I started helping my father when we were at about 50 doors. And now over the last 3 years, we've been able to scale that all the way up to north of 300 doors. And that's a lot of because of the systematic and processes that we're doing, just like what we're doing within that processing. That way you can, again, focus on your more day-to-days or other things part of the business that can help you grow, while will help alleviate some of the to-do tasks behind the scenes.
So no limitation for asset class and no limitation for how many units technically, but you're saying the sweet spot is in the sort of the 0 to what units? What did you reference earlier?
Well, I was around that 0 to 10 is what I referenced earlier, but that doesn't limit us to be able to do. We just started implementing 100 units back in March. So and the system and processes have been going really smooth in that regard. So there's no limit to what we're doing, to not limit anyone's mindset on it, but that sweet spot seems to be in that 0 to 10, that 1 to 10 mark, I should say, of helping investors out.
So what's interesting, Nathan, is and this is all just kind of coming to me right now. You're really at the crossroads, or with your two experiences, right? So you came in as a single family, let's say, creative financing real estate investor. You've done a bunch of deals with us, and then you also have the background of being a part of your own family business, where you guys are scaling and property managing multi-units, throughout, I believe it's Iowa. So you have this like crossroads that gives you the appropriate experience to really be able to help out both real estate investors and property managers, because you have the experience of both. And really, it seems like you're starting to see and fill the gaps with solutions based upon those two experiences. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is what I love about this, because I mean, you're coming here and you're bringing a solution to our community, and Chris and I talk about this a lot. We don't bring anybody into our community, in the Wicked Smart community, unless we properly vetted them, or our students are currently using them with success. So it's really cool when a student is able to bring success to the table, but on top of that, bring a solution to the table, but on top of that, had the necessary background and experience in order to actually provide that solution. So that was just more of an epiphany as I was listening to you kind of talk about that conversation, or have that conversation. That's what kind of brought us to this crossroads.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, our processing and helping our company in essence really started around the straight rental side of things. the fact that I was a part of the community and got to see what your 3 payday system looks like, we were able to pivot or be able to adjust and tailor to the creative deals that are out there as well. So really, the essence, it all started in the mindset of straight rentals, but we're able to morph and figure things out based off of creative deals as well from past conversations that we've had.
So we don't forget to throw it out, because I hope we answered a lot of questions, but in case we didn't, just so they can go get more information, smartrealestatecoach.com/NAT, NAT processing, smartrealestatecoach.com/NAT processing. Zach, any wrap up thoughts or more or questions? Then we can ask Nathan what we didn't ask him.
Yeah, I guess I would just point this out because there's lots of property management companies out there. There's lots of people, there's lots of different companies that either do something similar or do one of, say, the 3 pieces that you do. So my question to you, Nathan, would be like, why are you different? Why is Nat Processing different? Why do you believe that people should kind of work with Nat Processing? Like what additional value do you believe you bring?
It's a great question. First off, I think the big thing is we're going to treat every investment like it's our own. We've been in the trenches, we've been in the weeds doing investment deals ourselves. I have an appreciation of what that process looks like coming from behind the scenes, but also as an investor. And then I think the other part of it is one of our main core values is allowing you to have the time to go out and get more deals done. And so that's always going to be the essence in the forefront of our mindset when approaching your seller, if you're doing creative deals, or your tenants or tenant buyers, treating them as if they were part of our investment portfolio as well. So
I love it. Nathan, if you get off the show and think, okay, Chris and Zach left these questions on the table or these nuggets on the table, any last minute thoughts that you can share with the Wicked Smart listener? And then we'll make sure the link that we gave is in the show notes, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've hit a lot. The processes, we keep it very simple at the end of the day. We're not here to complicate any process. It's about here's being a part of the community from a creative side, but also from a property management division. I've seen how we've been able to scale and help businesses grow. The big thing is we want to be a part of your team, be an asset to what you're trying to accomplish with your goals at the end of the day.
The word dream team comes to mind just because at every event we do, we always bring our dream team, and you were at the last event, you spoke to VIP day, and Zach and I continue to just stack resources in that make our life easier, and then we just share it with others. That's the whole concept of us being in the trenches nonstop. Last minute thoughts, Zach, as we wrap up.
No, just if you want to find out more information, go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Nat Processing. And very likely, if you're attending one of our next live events, you will be able to meet Nathan there as well. And as he said, approach him, and he's looking to be a part of your dream team in order to make sure, I think you said this, Nathan, to make sure that you have the ability to go back out really in the trenches and getting deals done. And that way he can alleviate all the background noise, make it a lot more simplistic for you to go ahead and buy more real estate deals and help you scale.
Awesome. Nathan, thanks for being on, buddy.
Hey, appreciate you guys' time.
Thanks, Nathan.